So today we're actually going to dive deep into the mass layoffs that everyone has been talking about in tech lately and how far this rabbit hole gets, especially how egregious most of these companies are. So stay tuned. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Ghost from GhostszMusic.com, and you're listening to the Dev Room Podcast, where we discuss everything and anything dev related. Right before we get to the show, let's hear from our sponsors. If you like the Dev Room Podcast, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is GhostszMusic, as well as like, subscribe, and comment to show your support. Thank you. So as I was talking about, we're talking about the massive tech layoffs that's just been happening and taking over the globe for the last, couple months now? And just how egregious that these practices are. So I have in my notes right now of exactly what companies were laying off, who they were laying off, and at what rates they were laying people off. So first, we're going to start with the biggest one, and that is Amazon. They laid off about 18,000 people. We have Coinbase sitting at 1.1 thousand, Google at 12,000, IBM at 3.9 thousand, of course, Microsoft at 10,000. And it it's just it's unbearable to think that most of the time that anybody even talks about the tech sector, it's usually considered one of the most prestigious as well as safe jobs because, white collar, not blue collar. Usually when we talk about tech, we're talking white collar, where usually they're considered untouchable. During times of turmoil, they're usually the last ones to ever lay people off. But as we're seeing with the last couple months or even over the last year, how many jobs that this sector has just been laying off and how ridiculous. And of course, as we're all developers, we have to talk about it. And with the sheer number of altogether of all these companies laying people off and just how relevant that these type of situations are. I've dealt with companies in the past. I'm not going to get into that, but I've dealt with my fair share of layoffs because of mismanagement or just because remember, it's these people company. They can do exactly what they want. It's not right, but it's utterly their company. First, I want to talk about just how egregious that this whole entire situation and debacle has just been, because Microsoft literally had laid off about 10,000 people. It may be more. I'm not keeping a whole entire tally on it. It's just rough estimates of what I have. And then right after that, I think it was a week later, they had announced that they were investing $10 billion into the open AI for the Chat GBT platform to bring it into their software suites, which is just it's just a slap in the face of the people that you lay off, because I'm pretty sure, just like all these other tech firms, that they wrote on their layoff notification or email or even letter that, with the deepest sincerity of my heart, it goes out to all the people who were laid off, which in my experience has always been complete bullshit. You guys just need to be open and honest about it. Hey, we're laying people off because in this recessionary time, we want to save money. That's all they have to say. That's all they needed to say. And people will be like, you know what? I respect you a little bit more for actually giving the truth and telling people exactly how you're handling this, because it is just utterly ridiculous. It's the same thing with Carvana, where they don't want to admit that they're going bankrupt, but they keep laying people off, keep downsizing, and then telling everybody, "Oh man, no, we're not going bankrupt. We're plenty strong. We're doubling down on what we're doing." And then you see as many mass layoffs as possible. Even with Google's doing the same thing. They just laid off 12,000 people from my notes, and they're investing $300 million into a startup AI company because they're trying to compete with Microsoft for their AI platform. And they're literally doing the same thing and telling people, oh, the deepest sincerities to anybody who was deeply troubled at this time. It goes with a heavy heart that I don't want to lay off anybody, but it's utter bullshit. They're laying people off. And this is why I will continue to tell people, strengthen up your resume, do whatever that you have to do, network, talk to people, make yourself known inside of the community. Because I'm pretty sure that, a lot of these golden tech companies, or FAANG as everyone likes to call it, are going to be safe. They're probably going to get another job somewhere else. However, for the other people like Coinbase, they're probably, they're like mid-level, so they're pretty safe. But all the other tech companies, strengthen up your resume, practice your portfolios, do whatever you can, make yourself relevant inside of these bubbles to make sure that your skills are strengthened and you can move on to next locations. Never be afraid to always make yourself desirable. Even if you have to apply to different companies, you don't have to leave your current company, but make yourself appealing to other companies just in case that this stuff happens. Because as we're going through our recessionary times, I'm pretty sure that this mass layoff thing is not going away anytime soon. I'm 100% sure of it. It's not going away. Right now, blue collar is safer than the white collar sector. And with that one, I will see you guys on the next one. Have a good day. Peace.